first, I'll just start with say we're with Mariana right now, MeMe. And I've yet to call you MeMe, but I feel like I should train myself to call you MeMe. Do you prefer MeMe?
No, you do whatever your heart desires, darling.
Okay, so Mariana then.
Yes.
Okay.
Especially because you know how to say it right.
Oh.
And I delight when somebody can say my name right. I actually love it, which is why I like throw the MeMe around, because most people can't say sadly Mariana the way that my mother says it. Even though she's named me very purposefully with the idea that anybody could say my name. So.
And it hasn't turned out that way.
No.
Well, someone with a name.
Mariana.
Yeah. I have a name that people get wrong 70% of the time.
I'm sure. So you get it.
Yeah, so I try. You know, that's how you introduce yourself to me. But why don't you introduce yourself to our audience for a second here?
Hello. Mariana, Mimi Cherry, Mimi, all of the above. Hello.
And you are probably, of the 6 people I've interviewed today, you're probably the most comfortable in this setting because
I have a podcast. Dun, 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 dun. Series of fortunate events. Sofiepod.com. SOFEPOD.com.
Excellent. And I saw one of your episodes finally.
Oh, yay.
Thank
you.
And you're so professional. You had the opening music. You had a theme song and art that totally looks like you, and it's really cute. So we'll get into that in just a second.
Yes.
But
you're such a natural.
Thanks. Before going down that rabbit hole, I wanted to mention the first time I spoke to you. I was mentioning, oh, you're so flexible. I admire your flexibility, because I had seen you at the gym just stretching and doing the splits and doing the splits in a tutu, which was so rad. I'm like, look at this.
Wait, right under here.
Wait a second. Do you always wear a tutu?
No, but I paid a lot for these, and they're very comfortable. And, you know, just having something underneath just in case it was hot.
I'm incredibly versatile now, I'm seeing. Okay. And then you said, oh, thanks, I'm getting ready for a show.
Yes.
And then talk about the show. I was like,
yes.
Actually, Victor asked me earlier, has anyone said anything that like shocked you or blew your mind? Not today, but that was not what I was expecting to come out of your mouth when I complimented your flexibility. So talk about it.
So one of my besties in COVID started this outdoor roller skating drag show called Rolling with the Homos. I just call it Rollin' in mixed company. So Rollin' is an outdoor drag show that happens from spring to fall in Brooklyn Basin. And as long as you're on wheels and you get booked to perform, you can perform. And people have gotten very creative with the wheels. And so I was not on roller skates. I had a friend push me on a little flatbed dolly. And at the end of the number, I cheekily get off of the dolly and I break into the splits.
So that's what you were training for.
H-O-T-O-G-O, you can take me hard to go.
How did it go?
Oh my God, it was amazing.
You were training very intensely.
Yeah, and the timing was perfect because I did Chaperones Hot to Go, and they had just performed at Outside Lands, and there was like a whole thing where she does like a thing to the crowd, like, oh, you know, because they weren't playing along. And so I edited that clip in to the beginning of my number. And so when I come out, I'm like, hello, welcome to Outside Lands. And they ate it up.
Wow.
Oh, I also was I had people handing out donuts. So they literally ate it up.
Okay. So one of our fellow Crunchies earlier, Justina, was talking about having admiration for people who have no fear in approaching people. And I was like, there's not people like that. They just overcome their fear.
Yeah.
But you seem like somebody who might just be that outgoing.
I overcome the fear.
Overcome the fear.
I overcome the fear, darling. That's why last time I did a drive-by and I did not hang out. And this time I purposely came early, and I keep saying I'm like a little frog. I need to be in the water when it's warm, and then I just look up and it's boiling, and I don't even realize that it's boiling. No, I have, and especially now that I'm sober, I have like low-key, sometimes crippling social anxiety. And like people don't believe me when I tell them that I'm painfully shy. But when I'm comfortable, then like this comes out, like Mimi comes out.
Yeah, you've seemed ebullient all day, like since I got here. So that does seem to be, maybe it's not your natural state, but one of your natural states.
When I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the performing aspect of it?
Oh my gosh. Well, that is because I've been a fan of drag for so long. And on my podcast, I feature a lot of drag performers. And I talked for a long time about having my drag debut. And last year, I had a live show. And I had fairy drag parents that got me into drag, literally on stage. And one of them now became my drag mother, one of my besties. And yeah, performing, I don't know. Ooh, cry for attention, mommy, daddy issues.
But you're making the best of it.
Yeah.
Sounds like working it out.
Yes.
Working it out in front of everyone.
Trauma.
So you kind of segued for me. I wanted to ask about your podcast. It seemed to be that seemed to be the theme to me when I watched it. But tell me more about what all do you like to feature on your, and what got you into podcasting?
Oh, I've been a fan of podcasting for 20 years now. Shout out Keith and the Girl. My friend, now I can call him my friend, Keith Malley, is one of the founding pioneers of this little medium called podcasting. So shout out Keith Malley, shout out Hamda Khalili, who's now traveling the world, retired from podcasting. But I've been a fan of Keith and the Girl for a long time. They literally wrote the guide, like the podcasting guide. And so when people ask me like, oh, where did your name come from? Like I literally was doing an exercise in the podcasting guide. And then I came up with the series of fortunate events. But yeah,
Which
I'm a
is
fan.
an awesome name, by the way. That's so cool.
But yeah, I'm a huge fan of podcasting. And I feel like media is ever changing. I'm a media child. My mom was a journalism major. She was a newspaper editor when I was a kid. I grew up in a newspaper. I had photographers as babysitters. And then she started a digital company. She started latinolink.com. I call her a digital 49er. So like, I don't know, it's just like in my blood.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm rambling a little
Sounds
bit.
rad. No, it's cool that you're there with the answers. What's a podcast that you love that maybe people have heard of and one that probably not?
So Keith and the Girl, I always shout out Keith and the Girl.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, and they're pioneers. They're like literally in the Hall of Fame of podcasting. So shout out Keith and the Girl, Keith Malley. Stephanie Sue, who's a YouTuber that I love. She has, I think, a couple of podcasts. But I watch all of her content on YouTube and it all kind of blends together. But I think Baking a Murder might be one of them. Where she like will literally be baking something and then talking about like either a book. Usually with those it's like a book or something like that. So those are really interesting. And I've found books to read that way, which is really fun. What other podcast? Watch What Crappens. If you're a Bravo fan, like I am too, like the TV channel. Their podcast has been around for a long time, and so they talk about Bravo shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of any Bravo shows off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I think I used to watch one when I was pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like Top Chef, there's The Housewives, there's...
Yeah,
you know.
it was baby, what was it called? A Baby Story.
Okay.
A Baby Story.
Yeah, oh, that's old school Bravo.
Yeah, well, that's when I was pregnant. 16 years ago. Yeah, but so you feature a lot of drag artists, performers?
Yeah,
Is that
performers. I like to say drag
performers?
performers. Yeah, over time it's evolved. And now I like to say drag performers. For a long time it was drag queens, and I actually clocked my own misogyny low-key at one point when I had my first drag king, because I was like, oh my God, why has it been so long that I didn't have a drag king on? But now we have drag performers and beyond. I got really nichey. It was very easy for me it was like a very easy pond for me to fish in. And it was not intended to be a drag podcast. It became a drag podcast for a little bit. This new season, I reached out again and like I'm having other podcasters on, or like comedians or other types of performers. I had a burlesque clown on.
Wow.
Yeah, she has a number where she basically, you know how Dita Von Teese has like the bull number, famously? She has like this like riding bull number.
Oh.
Well, Kiki Maroon, who was on my podcast, she took a mechanical bull and had it turned into a balloon dog. And so part of her number is riding a mechanical balloon dog. So yeah, burlesque clown performers. Yeah, and friends of mine, like just right now, the one that I'm going to put out is just like somebody that I know from the Keith and the Girl chat, because every Wednesday there's like this chat that started in COVID that still happens every Wednesday. And so through the chat, I have like these chat friends, just like how there's like the Crunchies. I have my Keith and the Girl chat friends. And so through there, I met, she's a PhD who also does pottery on the side. And so
Nice.
she's going to be my next guest.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think the one I saw was somebody from that chat, maybe. You said
Probably
it was the first
Craig.
time you had seen him in real life?
Yes, Craig
He was in
Klein.
LA?
Craig Hollywood Klein.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, he was in LA. Okay, what's somebody you would love to interview that you haven't yet?
Oh my gosh, my mother.
Have you asked her?
She won't let me. One of these days.
Could you sneakily do it?
No, because that's not consensual, and I've been learning about consent.
Well, of course
That's a
you
very
would
big
ask
thing.
her afterward, right?
No, I've asked her a few times, and I think one of these days I'll convince her just for the sake of like the time capsule of it all and like the capturing of it. And she's been interviewed before. It's just she won't
not by
let me.
Oh.
She literally, I put together this presentation for work, and I'm using her an example. And I'm literally using a picture of her on a panel next to Hillary Clinton. Like, hello, mother, let me interview you, please.
Yeah. What's the reason she's given you?
I think she's just shy at this point in life and like living a very reserved and kind of like retired life. But she's lived such a fascinating life. And I just think she would be a fascinating
Where does she live?
person. She's on a cruise ship right now, but they're based out of Florida.
Oh, I love how moms are coming up so much today.
Oh, hello,
Mommy. Beautiful. Well, I hope you get the chance.
I know,
someday.
one of these days, mommy. Maybe when I see her in Puerto Rico for my birthday, you know what? Maybe I'll tell her as a birthday present. You know what?
Oh,
yes,
there you
I'll
go.
frame it as that. I'll frame it as a present. Next time she asks me, like, what do I want for Christmas?
She
Or
pretty
what do
much
I
has to
want?
say yes.
Be on my podcast, Mom. We don't even have to release it. Just let me record it and, like, keep it in the archives. Let me put it on the Patreon.
There you go. It's like, yeah, you're behind the paywall.
She's in the pages. She's one of my patrons. So come on, Mom.
Yeah, if she says no to your birthday, maybe you say, what if it's a combined birthday Christmas? That
Which I
always
used to
works.
do when I was a kid
Yeah,
because my
you
birthday's
have
so close to Christmas.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
When is
I
it?
famously started doing that when I was a teenager, when I started learning about negotiating.
Yeah,
I started
you have to leverage
combining.
that.
Yeah, I started combining birthday and Christmas presents. And in Puerto Rico, we have 3 Kings too, which is January 6th.
10th, right? Oh,
a different
6th.
January 6th now.
Oh, God.
I know, it's so
You need to
I
reclaim
hate
that.
this ruined. But yes, I would combine, like, please combine Christmas, 3 Kings, and my birthday.
Oh, I'm holding out hope for you. So I have a specific to drag performance question for you. I went to Pride this past year and invited my cousin and his fiance to join me because they were visiting out from Austin. And he was talking a lot about drag, and I don't get to see him very often, you know, so I think maybe they had gone to a show the night before or something like that. And he was really into it. And I said, have you had aspirations, you know, to perform? And, you know, it was like it was the kind of yes that you give when it's like a deep down desire that you're not ready to speak out loud.
Halloween
yet.
is always the time when the baby queens come out. It's
Is
a
it?
perfect time to dabble. Yeah, because it's Halloween. Eee!
Sure, yeah. And oh my cousin.
Many a baby queen is born
He
in
has the most
Halloween.
beautiful eyes and beautiful eyelashes, and he's tall and thin. I was like, oh my God, I would love to see that. So I got the babyest hint of this desire that's somewhere within him. And I wanted to ask you, like, what do you think he should know from all the performances, from all the people you've interviewed? Like,
Oh my, like in terms of
like what should,
like a baby drag queen?
yeah.
It's literally a question
What's
that
the
I've
best way
asked.
to get started?
You know, honestly, it depends, right? Because it depends on the type of queen that you want to be. Like, there's some performers that, like, literally are TikTok performers and, like, have never hit a stage, but, like, have millions of followers on TikTok. Or you can go to a bar show that, like, if you have your favorite bar show, then, like, go to the show and go to the show enough and, like, make yourself known and then get to know the host, get to know the performers, ask to get booked. I literally was posting today on my socials, like, I want to do that number again. Book me somebody before the end of the year because I want to do the number again.
That's cool.
Sometimes you just have to ask.
You have to be a self-promoter.
Yeah, and it's just having the gumption. It's scary. Like, I prepped for a month, my lip sync, and then I get to roll in, and I'm backstage, and I know I'm next, and then I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. and they come to me and they're like, how you feeling? And I'm like, I want to throw up. They're like, great, it's working.
All the things worth doing, right?
Uh-huh.
To leave you with that sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then like I black out. I've asked other performers too if they black out when they hit stage. And I brown out a little bit, which is why I love watching video backs of me, because especially that performance, because my other best friend, my hairstylist Enrique, was pushing the trolley, and so I would either focus on him or like I would find somebody on the crowd to focus on, and you're focusing on the lyrics and you're focusing, so you almost black out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, I haven't been in that situation, but I can picture that it would be that way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to.
Please,
I'm gonna
the
go
pre-produced
to,
question program. Sorry.
all right.
You can thank Kyle for the mushroom capsules.
Okay.
Program.
He's good for that, right? You've entrusted your best friend to write your dating app
I like these kind of
profile.
questions. Okay.
What would they list as your best character traits
Oh.
and weirdest personality quirk?
Ow. She's loving and she's a Muppet.
Is that still under good, or is that the quirk? Muppet, say more.
I'm a Muppet sometimes. Like sometimes things just come out of my mouth. I'm very silly. I'm very animated. But it's like when I'm comfortable. That's when the Muppet comes out.
Okay. Are we getting a little bit of Muppet
Oh,
today?
yes.
Good, okay.
This is full Miss Piggy mode.
All right, and I'm sorry. The Muppet thing was so distracting, I missed the first part.
Oh, loving.
Loving.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other positive traits that you want to share?
What would Mama Celeste say about me or Enrique? They would say I'm loving. They would say I'm creative. They would say I'm hardworking. They would say I'm loyal and trustworthy.
Good stuff. Those were all good ones.
Ding!
Okay.
This is fun. Being on the other side.
I bet.
I don't have to do anything except be me.
All right. Describe a time. This one might, this is one of those that might be difficult to come up with off the top of your head.
Okay.
Describe a time when something caused you to completely change your mind about a big, important issue.
First of all, that feels like an interview question, like a job interview question.
Oh,
Can you say it again?
That would be a much more fun job interview than the kind I've been on.
Yeah, that sounds like a tech job interview question.
Describe a time when something caused you to completely change your mind about a big or important issue.
Ooh, you know, I don't know, because I really try to be open-minded, and I try to consume a lot of things that maybe aren't like what I necessarily agree with. And so I don't know.
Ooh, what's the last thing you consumed, like that you mindfully sought out a perspective that you knew was like different than your own?
Oh, well, like so much of like this like straight bro kind of like red pill kind of like, you know, borderline a little misogynistic, but like people be out here feeling this way, and like I would rather know what they're thinking and saying, because it fascinates me. Like I have friends, so shout out Keith Malley. His mind is blown when people don't think exactly like him or feel exactly like him about something. I appreciate that other people don't feel the same way that I do, because that's what makes like living in this world interesting. It would be boring if we all felt the same way or thought the same way. And so I like being challenged. I actually enjoy being challenged. So, but I don't know.
Is there something that you've heard from the bros beyond what they're saying? Is there some sentiment at the heart of what they've expressed that you haven't experienced, but you get it now? It makes
trauma.
sense.
It's all trauma at the end of the day. A lot of it, you know what I mean? And like just, or like hierarchical shit. And it's just human beings like humaning on each other. Like we're just humans humaning on each other. And they're trying to like make sense of it and like have power because it makes people feel less anxious or less scared. But it's just humans humaning on each other.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because it does seem like there's so much really fear at the heart of everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And a lot of it is people trying to make sense of like what's nonsensical, because this world is nonsensical. This world makes no sense. And I am okay with it. I'm very Mad Hatter about it. But a lot of people need that sense of control, or they need that sense of like telling other people what's what.
Yeah, to
I'm
make
like,
sense
well,
of it.
you do you, bro.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's a nice note to end on. You do you. We'll all do ourselves.
You do you, bro. Isn't that
Thank you
so
so
feminine and
much.
cute?
Perfect way to close out.
Dang.